Peace. This is about Gilroy Festival shooter had a target list with religious and political groups. So the shooter had a target list with religious and political groups. So we wonder what kind of things he was up, or the shooter was up to. The 19-year-old gunman who used an assault-style rifle to shoot people at the Gilroy Garlic Festival last week had a target list made up of religious institutions and political groups of both parties, as well as federal buildings and courthouses, authorities said. So that's 19-year-old who used an assault-style rifle allegedly had a target list allegedly. It was made up of religious institutions and political groups of both parties, and as well as federal buildings and courthouses. So what was he going to do? Go after the courthouses next too? And of course the religious groups as well? Given the threats to nationwide organizations, the FBI is opening a domestic terrorist investigation into the shooting. FBI Special Agent in charge of the San Francisco office, John Bennett, said. So, given the threats to nationwide organizations, allegedly, the FBI is opening a domestic terrorist investigation into the shooting. And of course, this senseless, heinous crime just got out of control. The FBI has not made a conclusion as to his motivation, and the shooter left no manifesto, Bennett said. The gunman was exploring violent, competing ideologies, and there was nothing that was all one-sided or the other, he said. So the FBI has not made a conclusion as to his motivations. So they haven't decided why did he do this or anything. So and of course the gunman was exploring violent, competing ideologies. So there was something he didn't like at all. The shooter, Santino William Ligon, cut through a back fence to get into the food festival and began shooting at random with a weapon he bought in Nevada weeks earlier, authorities said. So how did the shooter get to Nevada? If he's 19 years old, he couldn't have had a car or anything unless somebody took him to Nevada. And of course, Santino cut through a back fence to get into the food festival and began shooting at random. Oh, of course, here's the garlic festival people that were there at the shooting at that time. 3 people: 6-year-old Stephen Romero, 13-year-old Keila Salter, and 25-year-old Trevor Irby were killed in the shooting, and more than a dozen people were wounded. So you got a 6-year-old boy who was shot in the back and killed. A 13-year-old named Keila Salter and a 25-year-old Trevor Irby. They were killed in the shootings. More than a dozen people were wounded on top of that. The gunman was shot multiple times by 3 responding police officers, and he then killed himself with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, Gilroy Police Chief Scott Smitty said last week. So the gunman was shot multiple times by 3 responding police officers. Well, if that didn't kill him, then I don't know what did. And he then killed himself with a self-inflicting gunshot wound to the head. And this is what the Gilroy Police Chief Scott Smitty said last week. In a search of his digital media, the FBI found a list of nationwide organizations that may have been potential targets, allegedly. Those include religious, government, and political organizations, including federal buildings, courthouses, and food festival. So this gunman had allegedly got a whole bunch of places where he was going to go to and start shooting at random people for no reason at all. Of course, you got the religious, government, and political organizations, federal buildings, courthouses, and the food festival. I mean, this guy was a total disaster of what he was going to do. The gunman was wearing body armor when he fired 39 total rounds into the crowd, Smitty said. He had a 75-round drum magazine that fit into his weapon, and there were 71 rounds left in the drum when he died. In addition, he had two 40-round magazines on his body, two 40-round magazines on the ground, and one 40-round magazine that was on or near him, Smitty said. So this guy had a whole lot of ammunition on him. He was also wearing a body armor when he fired 39 total rounds into the crowd. That is a lot of ammunition he had. He had a 75-round drum, there were 71 rounds left in the drum when he died. Of course, he had two 40-round magazines. Two 40-round magazines on the ground and one 40-round magazine that was on or near him. That's a whole lot of ammunition of bullets. A Remington shotgun was found in his vehicle, and his nearby backpack had two loose rounds, a rifle, scope, flashlight, shovel, and buckshot rounds for the shotgun. Now, what was he doing with a shovel? Seriously, what was he going to do with the shovel? And of course, buckshot rounds for the shotgun. They found he had also two loose rounds, a rifle scope, a flashlight on top of it. That is just too much to be carrying. An Instagram account bearing the shooter's name, created days before the shooting, posted two messages shortly before the attacks. One post was a photo of people walking around the Garlic Festival, and another post made a reference to a white supremacist text. So of course, you know there's going to be that involved, the white supremacy, of course, the hatred people of America. And of course, one post, a photo of people walking around at the Garlic Festival. That's what he posted too. So he had made himself an Instagram account way before he was shot. Law enforcement sources previously told CNN of finding extremist material in the shooter's Nevada apartment. And of course, you know, CNN can't be trusted because they're full of garbage themselves, so you know how that is. Law enforcement sources previously told CNN finding extremist material in the shooter's Nevada apartment. So whatever they found in there, they found it. And of course, this is the little boy who survived the shooting after all the bullets went flying everywhere. Also on Tuesday, Ligon's family released a statement through their attorney saying they were deeply shocked and horrified by his actions. So Ligon's family was deeply horrified by his actions. They were not very happy with him for what he has done to people. We have never and would never condone the hateful thoughts and ideologies that led to this event, and it is impossible to reconcile this with the son we thought we knew, the family said. Our son is gone, and we will forever have unanswered questions as to how or why any of this has happened. So why didn't the parents take the time to know their son? And why didn't they? they should have sat down with him and asked him a whole lot of questions. What's going on with you? Why are you acting like this, and that? But no, they never knew he was going to be like this. And they would have, and if the parents were to intervene, then it would have saved a lot of lives. But they never took that time to sit with their son and ask him anything. And of course, they said, we have never and would never condone the hateful thoughts and ideologies that led to this event. Well, if the parents would have took this time to sit with their son and talk, then everything would have been okay. But they didn't. They apologized to the families of the victims and said that every member of the family had cooperated with the investigation. And so they apologized to the families that have lost their loved ones, and of course had cooperated, and of course every member of the family had cooperated with the investigation. To the city of Gilroy and to everyone affected, we are tremendously sorry. No words can begin to express this, the family said. Yeah, so they said to the city of Gilroy and to everyone affected, they are tremendously sorry, and no words can begin to express this. So they just could not really express their words out after what happened to them. And it's terrible that the families lost their loved ones, and they are never going to come back from any of this at all. And it's just terrible. Leave your comments below. I am out.